Hey, it's Raincloud. I hope your COVID is going well and you're not. Got it. So, breathe well and take showers. I want to show you some stuff that I've been working on. I've been holed up just like the rest of you. I hope you're holed up. And don't lay hands on people to heal them. I have been working inside in my tinker room with 3D printing and designing and airbrushing and building motors and fixing my Harley and stuff, and then I came across some really cool ideas for some compressed air powered engines. So this is an 80cc motor off of a Motovox Minibike. It's off the MBX10, MB10, whatever the hell. It's a tiny little internal combustion motor. This one is an overhead valve, which is interesting for reasons. I'm not really sure why it changes things, but I have converted this to run on compressed air. I welded on the cam to make it a 2-cycle stroke. There's just an intake and exhaust. The valve opens, it takes in air that pushes the piston down, throwing the flywheel around, and then it compresses. As the piston comes back up, it pushes out any sort of extra air, creating an exhaust stroke, but there is no exhaust. It's just oxygen. The one thing that, in doing this project, a lot of folks have been doing Briggs and flatheads and older motors and whatnot. I didn't want to take my nice built Briggs and put air in it and start welding on the cam, so I pulled this one out. The general consensus, as far as I understand, is to go into the exhaust port, the original exhaust port. After you remove the muffler and the carburetor, you put the air into the original exhaust port, creating a new intake valve. After you weld the cam, it doesn't really matter. It's a 2-stroke. It'll go. Something interesting about that is that all the Briggs motors I've seen, they all seem to be maintaining their original motor direction, the way the crank spins, thereby creating a forward momentum on a go-kart without having to change the output shaft direction. It just works. So I was kind of intrigued to find out that this didn't do that. It actually goes backwards. Before we go any further, I want to go ahead and say that I do have an air compressor hooked up to my house power, mains power. This is in no attempt, this is in no way saying that this is free energy or anything like that. I've seen a lot of really nasty people attacking folk. But yeah, I got a compressor hooked up to this. We're gonna get past that eventually. I've got some ideas to eliminate that from the equation. So I've got a regulator, air filter, of course, because moisture, you don't want moisture in your motor. Oh, fun thing, no gas, no fuel, no oil, maybe a little lubrication oil, but that's about it. And then beyond that, the emissions are in fact cleaner than the oxygen that it takes in. And that's probably the most exciting part, is that just by running this motor, I'm filtering the air in my sphere of influence, fixing the COVID. So I have welded a tit on this to accept a standard airline. As you can see currently, it's not doing anything because I don't have any air going through. My motor is at top dead center, meaning that the piston is the highest in a stroke inside the jug. So when I power this with air, it should begin to rotate and create work. So we're going to bring in some air pressure here. You can hear it right now. It's going through. There's not a ton of I'm losing some compression here and there because of the way my gaskets are. And we're at about 7 psi. That's about 15 psi standing by. There's 25. It kicked off at about 30 psi. Yeah, the air compressor is not the best setup. So there you have it. It runs, it moves, it goes. Currently with the leaks and the compression ratio and all that, it started off at about 30 psi. I think I can get that lower by fixing where the air leaks are and potentially changing the timing, or adjusting the timing. An interesting thing that I noticed is that like I said earlier, the Briggs motors always turn in the original drive direction. This one seems to be only able to turn the opposite of the original motor direction. And I don't know why. I'm still going in the exhaust port like the other guys are doing. The only thing that I can see that's different is that this is an overhead valve. I don't understand valve trains fully enough to really know why that would make a difference. But maybe somebody knows and can give me some insight on that, because it's neat, but it's really it's perplexing. And according to this, I could just go into the original intake side and reverse the direction of the motor, which makes me think of a reverse valve that we could, if this were on a tractor or a bike or even a working tool, say a pulley or a winch, you just could reverse the flow of the air and make the motor spin, make the engine spin the opposite direction, which is fascinating. It's great. This is a really cool application of boredom and science, and of course there's all kind of information out there on air-powered cars in the past and air-powered this, that, the other thing. I'd go so far as to say the government's gonna not be happy about all that because of oil and stuff, but at the same time, you know, we as a people have to spend a lot of time refining an idea to make it work. So this is my This is my 2 cents. This is my contribution to the greater good, and I hope that if more people understand how this works, then there's no reason to not invest and look into this kind of energy. Air storage is rough. Air compressing is rough, and these two things are something that definitely get in the way of this idea. But I think if enough of us put our heads together and figured out a way to move this energy back into the motor, we wouldn't have any issues. I'm toying with the idea of some solar-powered compressors, and that in itself sounds like a massive rig to be able to balance this out. But if I can get it to work, I think it'd be a beautiful proof of concept. I'm Raincloud. This is the air-powered Motovox 80cc thumper. Thank you.